Sure.
Hey Naji, so happy to see you here. Welcome to Education Next podcast. And when I met you last month, uh, I understood that you're doing a lot of work around youth, a lot of programs around youth. And I would love to introduce yourself and your program so that we can learn more about you and what you do. Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, so a little about me. I was like every youngsters who were frustrated in the education system, and I was going through an education system where, like, I was left behind in some other way, and I was the least performing student, so-called least performing student in the class. And
Mhm.
later, like, I was thinking, okay, am I a person who doesn't have any skills, or am I a person who is, like, gonna not achieve anything in life, or am I gonna be so-called successful in life? All these questions were there, like, coming from around me. But when I came, like, after my schooling, I was into polytechnic college, I was into engineering, and I dropped out engineering in between. So during all those period, and especially after those period, I got to volunteer with different organization, and I got to travel around India. And
Wow.
what I understood is, during those travel, I got to learn more than my, like, 10, 12, or 13 years of education from from the people, from different communities.
Wow.
So and all those learnings, what I understood is, like, it's beyond books, it's beyond many things that we could, like, watch from online or anything. So we are experiencing and learning. So that was how my journey began. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And how old were you when you took this travel around India? How old were you at the time?
So
Hmm.
I started my journey, like, traveling across the country in around 2016, 2016.
Wow.
And I'm right now, like, 29. So yeah, so this I started, like, with a program called ICS. It was like I was living in a village for 3 months in rural Rajasthan. So it was a program which was supported by UK government. So there were volunteers from India and from UK, and we were, like, living in rural village for 3 months, along with the families in the village.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was one of the programs which
Mm.
diverted
And
my life.
who suggested you this program, this volunteering program? Like, how did you come across this?
So I was back then I was part of different volunteering initiatives in Kerala. So from those communities, I got to know about several opportunities. So it was like, I was opening one window, and then I was seeing, okay, there are multiple other windows as well. So then again, entering to some of those windows, I would see, okay, this there are, like, a lot of opportunities out there. So now I could see, like, that much amount of opportunities around me, which youngsters are not able to see, or especially when it comes to, like, careers. People just see very less number of career opportunities out there. But when I was traveling in this journey, I was able to see everywhere, like, opportunities are everywhere. And it is not just an opportunity that is giving us money. It also would make us alive in some other way. So there are words like a livelihood, which we could
Correct.
hear from different
Correct.
communities. So
Correct.
yeah, I was able to see those as well, where it's beyond money. We would feel alive, and we would be able to be in the present, and we would be able to be happy in that all moment which we are living. Yeah.
It's so beautiful, Naji, that you brought this up because yesterday I was talking to Mr. Pradeep ji. We met
Mhm.
him in the IMA meet. So,
Yeah.
it was beautiful because he spoke a lot about volunteering and how he has
Mhm.
conducted a lot of trainings for volunteers. And, I was also discussing with him how when children are in a school or in a college, it's just a one way. You don't know other ways, or you never get to explore the opportunities that you have or you could have had. So you
Mhm.
you are in a system and you are so focused, you just keep going from one grade to another grade till you do your 12th, and when you have very limited options, either you see yourself as a medical student, or you see yourself as an engineering student, and your life is that. And then, if you failed in any either of these two, you just land in something very close to that, and so you never open up yourself. And I think when sometimes when you fail, or sometimes when you don't do great in your life, it opens up other windows for you to see that, okay, there can be like in your case, you join these volunteering groups, and it opened you so many options that you were like, okay, there are so many things to do. And if you have not taken that, you would not have been here. And I think that is the crux of exploring oneself before we commit our life into something, isn't it? And so that that drama doesn't again happen when you're 25, 26, and you're like, where am I, what did I do, why am I here?
Yeah,
You start asking those crazy questions. Not that asking those crazy questions are bad, it's just that unless you throw yourself into something. So when you started this volunteering, and you started visiting other states, what are some of the skills that you think that you learned and is very useful to you as a professional now?
so when you ask this question, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the easiest way to answer would be like, I've understood how I could live. So there is a, there are certain skills that we should have to understand how to live, and how to live happily, and how to live peacefully in the present moment. That is one of the most thing that I would call as a skill which I have gained through these journeys. And along with that, so now at present, some of the things that I'm doing along with my team is providing experiential learning programs for youngsters. So they also get to go through similar journeys. And for me, there were less number of people who were there to guide me. Okay, you could walk through this path or that trail, but see, nowadays there are more people coming up, like you as well, I would say, who are showing the way. Okay, there are these ways that you could choose, or what I find is, I'm able to show the way to many people, or when people do it together, things would become more easier. Or if, one of the programs which we are doing is the Great Indian Treasure Hunt, which is a program where people find the treasure within, and also to find the treasure which are existing out there.
Hmm.
So this is an initiative which we do with an organization we have initiated named Khoj. So in that program, within a frame of 3 months, people get to travel through 7 states and around 10 organizations who are working on the ground. So it's not just like, they get to see, okay, these people are doing this, the other people are doing that. So when it comes to 3 months, it become more intense. People also
Hmm.
get to apply their learning, or have that different kinds of learning by working along with those organizations who are the host organization in the program. Giving an example, when it comes to the upcoming edition, which is I think in the next month,
Hmm.
first week of next month. This there is Sadhana Forest as one of our
Hmm.
partnering organizations. So when people get to experience Sadhana Forest, like a community of people coming from around 50 or 60 countries living together, and
Wow.
they are working in nature, and they plant trees over there, and they have converted the barren land since starting the planting in 2003, and now it has become a forest, and we would see those dreams becoming true. And that also inspires us in different ways, and living and being around those communities, taking part in the cooking process and the cleaning process, and all those process also would give us an idea. Okay,
Hmm.
so for finding happiness, it's not the so-called paradox that we have to go through. Okay, once I become a millionaire, I'll be happy. It's not that. It's
Exactly.
like, I can be happy in this moment, and there are different ways. Like, we could be happy by being compassionate to other people and to the other living beings, and to the earth in some other way. So we would be able to find and experience those happiness in being in those moments. So these experiences, like Sadhana Forest or Adi Johar or different other organization which are part. So giving another example, people being in the journey would be placed in one of the organizations in Bihar. So the
Mhm.
organization works on gender and education.
Mhm.
So these people get to understand how the founders of that organization is impacting the children over that area. Like, it's a rural village, and we also would have a window where we could learn from those kids over there. Also, we could share our understanding about life with those kids. So there is a exchange of learning as well
Mhm.
happening through the year. So uh, there would be around 10 such organizations which participants of this journey would experience. So maybe, like, if I look into my own life, I was not able to experience this much number of organizations within a frame of 3 months, but we were able to design in such a way that, people get best out of, a shorter period of time. So yeah, that's
I think,
that's it.
it's so beautiful because you are opening so many doors to a person. It's not only being in a community for 3 months, it's visiting other
Mhm.
places, seeing how other uh, places function. We've always thought of, getting a job, getting yourself in an office or in getting into a corporate. But you've never thought about, how ashrams work, how organizations work, like how Auroville supports, how themselves, how Sadhana Forest is able to, maintain such a huge space with volunteers. And you understand the value of trees, forest, food, like you said, a livelihoods. How do you keep yourself alive as an
Yeah.
individual? What if you are not part of a company? You are yourself. uh, what
Mhm.
skills could use? Maybe you are good at cooking, or maybe you are good at cleaning, and maybe you're good at taking care of the plants, but you will never know unless you are part of any of these things. You get a like for kids as well, like from Adi, he likes to cook, but if he never gets a chance to cook, he will never know, right? We'll say, hey, why don't you wait till you grow, you know uh, so all the things like you said, we've always waited when will when I get a job, when I can buy a car, when I can buy a house, I'm going to be happy then. But I'll have to pay so much at that point that I'll never get to be happy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, we have put so much pressure on turning 30 or turning 25 till all my dreams actually come true. But programs like this can open so many windows, and the best thing is that it comes from your own experience. Because for you, that you took a different turn, and it helped you look at your life now, and assess what you want to do, and you're so passionate about what you do. So, what do you think the role of passion in somebody's life, or in what they want to become? How does passion play a role there?
So, connecting the passion, I would say, I do remember, there were different words used by my teachers back then. So they used to ask me, "What are your hobbies?" So there are, list of hobbies. Okay, reading, writing, cycling, traveling. So we used to say those hobbies as, we need to give an answer for those teachers,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So we have by heart at time. So, about passion, one thing I have realized from my own life is, we get to discover different passion in our life through the journeys of our life. It's not like, so there might be something that comes to us within the journey where we were born, and, whatever we were exposed in from our family itself. So maybe passions might grow through that means. But at the same time, if we are exposing ourselves to different experiences, we might find or discover new things. So I do believe, passion is not always the inborn kind of thing. It can also be something that we could nurture within. So
Mhm.
that also happens, when we expose ourselves into different experiences. And I would say even I have discovered my passion of serving people and traveling and all those things through the journey of life.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I would say about passion.
So, so tell me a little more about your passion. Like, where do you see Khoj program growing? What is your vision for your Khoj program?
So, we really look forward to expand the experiences to more number of people. So at present we are serving lesser number of people, and that like increasing the number of people getting similar experience is one thing. At the same time, we also really wanted to. Coach is one of the ideas which we are working, and there's another initiative which we are working, which builds social leaders and young change makers.
Mhm.
So those programs, we find more young people coming up, creating employment, not just being a person who goes to get a job or anything, or not a person who just do a job just out of getting money kind of thing. So here we train young people who really wanted to be social entrepreneurs or change makers, and we mentor them, support them, and guide them through the journey. So we find ripple wave where these people would be building different initiatives. So
Mm,
it's kind of expansion of ourselves in some other way. It's not expansion of ourselves. It can also be expansion of whatever we are working towards. So
correct.
if I myself alone think of building, making the change of the world, it would be very much harder. But if I could bring 10 people along with me or 100 people along with me, those 100 people would be bringing some other hundreds and thousands, and we could have that chain reaction of change, so
Mm,
that's what we are looking towards, and we are on that journey, let's say. And
actually,
giving just a simple example, one of the participants of our journey
mm,
initiated an initiative called Michamidi. So the word Michamidi is a Tamil word, and it's about the leftovers. So there are a lot of things that people leave aside. So this what these people, young people who were participants of our programs now doing is they have initiated an organization where they are training people to use how to use this leftover things. If
okay.
there is some wooden pieces left over somewhere, they would be bringing it and they would be building some box, and they have tapped that market in which they're selling it to people. So there are
Wow.
people now waiting for their product. So they use some papers, and they would use old clothes as a cover. So they create notebooks, also
Mm,
in wonderful design.
wow.
So
Mm,
they also earning through that process, and they're also training people to generate livelihood through this means, where they could also enjoy the process. And a lot of women are coming to their initiative
wow.
to learn how they could use these things. So it's basically an upcycling process which
Mm,
they are doing through their initiative. In the same way, there are different organizations that have got initiated through these leadership programs, and what we are looking forward is to support people in those journeys. So see, one of the things is there are a lot of passionate young people who
mm,
are out there looking to bring some change in the world. And when they look into the social sector, they feel like, okay, if I go here, there won't be any salary, or I won't be able to generate any money. It's not that. They could build their own social enterprise, and they could have they will have to go through a process where sometimes it would be painful. It will sometimes it would be creating a lot of pleasure and happiness. So all those ups and downs would prepare us for a world that is coming to us. So also we would be able to find joy in everything. So we could feel that resilience getting built in ourselves, which we could use it whenever different kinds of problems comes in our life. We would be able to calmly manage those as well. So yeah, that prepares people in several ways.
I think
Yeah, these are few of the things.
it's very beautiful, Naji, what you're doing, because when it comes from your own passion, your passion can be reflected when you talk about it. You feel it, and you are doing it every day. You're changing lives, and like you say, there are so many young people. When they grow, they want to do something, but they don't see the options. Where do I go? How do I do it? And I think more people like you, like your organization, when we you do a lot of things like this, people will have more options to go, and that's the whole idea of bringing these podcasts, or through my articles. What I try to do is tell people that, hey, don't say it doesn't exist. It exists. Maybe you have not found it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
strongly feel that your work is very beautiful in its own way, in the sense that it's helping youth to build. We don't know where they will take it, right? They It can just be a experience, or it can become their life, or it can become a starting idea for a project that they could think of. They could germinate something, right?
Yeah.
But uh, at least it exists. There are alternate paths to learning and living, and you would never know unless you experience, right? So I'm so happy that we have so many things happening in India, that youngsters can go and learn. And I have my article, your article published, and do send me more links that you think will be useful for the youth, so that they can go and learn. Maybe some stories as well of people who, like you, some of the examples that you gave now about people who have developed this into a social enterprise. So those links, if it is there, people can go and search about their work, and it just builds a sense of faith that, okay, this is possible, I can do it as well, right? So I'm
Yeah.
thankful to you, Nadi, for being here and sharing amazing uh, stories and insights with us. And I think it's going to help a lot of people, parents, teachers, and anyone who wants to explore something new from the program Khoj, and uh, Khoj themselves out from this.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here, and we'll
Yeah.
catch up again.
And I have
Yeah,
one last thing to share with the audience who have listened
sure, sure,
us so
please.
far.
Hmm.
So it's just a gift to all of you. Okay. So there is a book written by Rob Hopkins, which titled like "From What Is to What If."
Okay.
So it's not just in India, but across the world. He had like Rob Hopkins had a travel through different alternative spaces across the country, and he
Wow.
have built a community or network called Transition Community or Transition Network,
Hmm.
where people start to imagine things. So
Hmm.
imagination is the first step towards implementation. So
Hmm.
instead of like being just sad about whatever is happening around, why can't we imagine about a world that is beautiful, that is like
Hmm.
joyful, where people are happy, people are prosperous.
Hmm.
So and then like take a smaller step towards it. So this is a book recommendation I would like to put
Oh,
towards
that's
the
beautiful.
audience. And once
Yeah,
again,
yeah, I'm going
thank
to
you so
get.
much for the
I think
invitation.
it will
So
be
yeah.
very useful for me as well,
Yeah.
because I'm hunting for alternate spaces all the time. People who are doing
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
very interesting. So thank you for sharing that. And of course, I'm sure this is going to inspire a lot of youth who say, there is, what should I do next? How can I learn about
Mhm.
the world, and how can I, this is a stepping stone, I think. So thank you so much for
Mhm.
being here, and see you again till next time.
Sure. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.